Stormtracker 16, Cloud to Ground, is sponsored by DraftKings Casino, your new home of Lightning Link.
Hi everyone, I'm Stormtracker 16 meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Thanks for joining us again for Cloud to Ground and Little League World Series. Come on, it started right here in our viewing area. And think of all the weather that has occurred over the years. Allie is coming up with a little summary of all the good stuff and bad stuff.
Earlier this week, the Little League World Series kicked off in South Williamsport, and for the past 20 years, all of the festivities begin with the Grand Slam Parade. The weather Tuesday evening for the parade could not have been more perfect. The sun was shining, the humidity was low, and everyone agreed it was the best way to start what will hopefully be mainly rain-free over the next 2 weeks. This week, I'm taking a look back at how the weather has impacted the Little League World Series in recent years.
This time of year, every year, people from all over the world come here to South Williamsport for the Little League World Series. With any event that's 2 weeks long, in the middle of summer, rain and thunderstorms are bound to be in the forecast at some point, impacting the games. But last year, here in South Williamsport, that actually wasn't the case.
I don't believe there were any games that were rained out that had to be moved. I don't recall that happening in a while. So, you look at the weather, we had great weather, which really offered up the opportunity for people to make plans and say, hey, let's make that bucket trip list to Williamsport.
There was some rain from time to time during last year's Little League World Series, but it was never enough to postpone any games or keep fans away.
Heading back to school soon, and this weather could not stop us. It's actually beautiful. It's not, it's not raining. We're doing great.
Officials with the Williamsport-Lycoming Chamber of Commerce say good weather keeps people here at the Little League complex, but also downtown, which of course means good news for business owners.
Part of this community of being the foundation of baseball and all these other things that come together, it's an experience. They don't just come in to grab a book and go. They come in and they stay a while, and the experience is a big part of that.
But of course, a rain-free 2 weeks in August is pretty rare, almost unheard of. So perhaps some of the most important people here at the Little League World Series each year are the grounds crew. We spoke to Alan Wilson in 2023 about his work. It was a particularly rainy year that year.
This field drains very well, so the grass areas, we don't really have a problem with dispersing the water on the grass. It's the dirt areas that require the work, so we try to cover them as quickly as we can.
The tarp was used a lot in 2023, and as for the famous hill here at Lomity Stadium, well, there isn't a grounds crew for that.
It's a little bit soggy up here at the top where the water sits, but when you're sitting down on the hill, it's perfect conditions.
And many fans, specifically the younger ones, would probably argue these conditions make for an even better time.
Cardboard stopped all the way up there, and I just kept going. So, yeah, we're having fun.
That same rainy year in 2023, the team representing the Southwest region in the Little League World Series needed somewhere to go on their night off. And as always, the Central Pennsylvania community stepped up.
They had plans somewhere else. Due to the weather, it got canceled and they needed a space originally. We absolutely gave them the space, and then food kind of became a quick talk. And knowing us and knowing our community, it happened within, by 2 o'clock we had everything done.
At the time, we called it Oneville helping another. Several businesses from the surrounding Danville area donated games, food, drinks, and other gifts to the team from Needville, Texas. And the boys were able to relax on their night off here inside the banquet hall at the Pine Barn Inn in Mahoning Township.
Danville people are like the Needville people. And one big, they're a community, and they take care of their own, and they're treating us like their own. You can tell by what you see here this evening, they have stepped up and really treated us like family.
This was the scene in 2021. Pouring rain in Williamsport ahead of the first day of play, which of course had some business owners worried.
I was a little concerned with the rain, because everybody's like, oh man, are we going to travel, this and that? Man, we have had people coming in today and ordering at the complex, so I'm very, very encouraged about this.
In 2019, all but one game was postponed on opening day of the Little League World Series because of rain. That meant 7 games had to be played the next day. One coach told us that meant an extra day of rest for his players after traveling.
I know the kids were itching to play, so to them I'm sure they were a little disappointed. They want to get out there and play since we've been here since Sunday, ready to go. But I think overall, it probably helps us.
Day 2's weather was much better that year, and all that rain from the day before made for some very happy kids.
It's making the hill nice and slick, so you got the good speed going down the hill. Because if it's dry, you're not really going to go anywhere, but with that wetness, you're flying down the hill.
In 2015, Little League officials said history was made, but not exactly for a good reason.
We've never played 8 games before. We've never had 16 teams on the field before.
All 4 games were postponed on opening day in 2015. The opening ceremony was canceled too. At the time, that hadn't happened in a decade. So 8 games were played on day 2 that year. All 16 teams.
It's a shame that opening day was banged because of the weather, but that's one thing you can't control, but you've got to do what you've got to do. You've got to squeeze them in, You can't keep everyone waiting.
There is some rain in the forecast for this weekend and looking ahead to next week. Thanks for joining me this week. I'm Allie Gallo.
Thank you, Allie. All right, coming up is Anthony and Jeremy. Stay with us.
Stormtracker 16, Cloud to Ground, is sponsored by DraftKings Casino, your new home of Lightning Link.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So Little League World Series, just think, people come from all over the world. And just like here at WNEP, they're coming from all over. Anthony and Jeremy, not originally from our viewing area. So how much do they know the towns and cities and where they're located? It's time for a little When Stars Align.
Welcome back to When the Stars Align. I'm Johnny Stars, of course. There are stars that are aligning. Anthony Bordenero, Jeremy Lawan, our meteorologists. Now, we're always talking about cities. You've heard your Scranton, you've heard our Wilkes-Barre, but we have a lot of towns and we have a lot of cities in our coverage area that don't really get their time on the map when they're doing the weather.
And they deserve it.
And they deserve it, of course. So we got some questions, or we got some town and city names. Some of them are in our coverage area, some are not. And they're gonna be deciding if it's real or if it's fake. Now, real means that it's in our coverage area. That means it's in northeastern or central Pennsylvania. Fake means it could be in Pennsylvania, but outside of our coverage area. Could also be in California, not Pennsylvania, California, the state. It could also be in Utah. It could be like anywhere, and that means it's fake. Last time, I believe it was a tie, right?
It was a tie, so this is a rematch.
It's a rematch.
And I've studied. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I've been looking at a map for hours in a row.
Good deal. Good deal that you guys did your homework. We also have a bonus question at the end from our very own Joe Snediger, so that's exciting.
And that's worth 2 points.
And that's worth 2 points. So it's anybody's game today.
So it's 1 point for getting it correct if it's a real or fake city. It's another point if we get the correct county.
Another point if we get the right county, yes.
And then it's 2 points bonus question
for the bonus question at the end. You boys ready?
We're going to do 5 cities, correct?
5 cities.
All right.
These are from our video coordinator, Natasha. She put them together very nicely. Has not been opened before today. Let's crack it open.
It has been open.
Well, it has been. Well, yeah, but you guys are breaking the mystery.
It has not been open to us.
Yeah. All right.
All right, don't look. Okay.
First town or city, I believe it's pronounced Rochtown or maybe Rauchtown. Rauch, R-A-U-C-H
Can I have
town.
a spelling?
Yes,
Language of origin.
R-A-U-C-H town.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
That's fake.
It is real.
What? Oh boy.
I thought it sounded too like German.
Well, we were on the same page there with it being fake.
I thought it sounded German. I thought it sounded German.
We
not
might have
German
some German
the town,
populations in our,
we do.
in our area.
We do. Rochtown. All right. Where is it located?
It's in Clinton County.
Clinton County. All the way out there, you friendly folks in Rochtown. We appreciate your viewership.
And we're sorry.
We're sorry.
We are proud to serve you.
But now we know you exist.
So 0-0 for both of us right now.
Okay. All right. Second one.
Yep.
Tokeland.
Can we have another spelling?
T-O-K-E land.
All right. Ready?
3, 2, 1. Please.
You're correct.
Yes. Let's go.
It's fake.
1-1. I was gonna say fake for all of them.
It is in Washington.
With a 50-50 chance.
It's in Washington, the state.
Washington, the state.
That's fun.
Tokeland.
Do we have a Washington County in Pennsylvania?
We might, but it's not
We
in our viewing
might,
area.
but it's not in our viewing area.
We have a
That's what
Monroe
matters.
County. That's for sure.
Presidents.
All right, this next one, I like this next one. Quiggleville. Quiggleville.
Okay, you know the answer to this, and that you're pretending like you're thinking.
I would love to visit Quiggleville.
All right, 3, 2, 1. That's real.
It is real.
I was pretending. Wow, you got my poker face.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
you can read me.
Now, do you know what county it's in, though?
I don't know where it is.
Quiggleville. I've heard of it. I've done a Proud to Serve for it, like not in person, but I've heard we are proud to serve Quiggleville, and everyone who lives in.
Okay.
But I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
Ready?
3,
2, 1. Like coming.
Lycoming.
Yes. Why do you love it? You knew.
Just like
I
last
did it
time.
actually. That was just a good guess.
Because everyone's like coming.
Yeah, just like last time, everyone was Lycoming. So, I mean, when in doubt, Lycoming.
When in doubt, go like coming.
So you 2 to 1, right?
2 to 1. There's still time for you to come back, especially since it's a bonus round.
Yeah, we still have 2 more questions, or 2 more towns. Next one is Blandville.
Blandville. I wouldn't want to eat any of the food there. All right, ready?
Serious time. Serious face now.
3,
3, 2, 1.
It's fake.
Yes.
You guys are on fire.
We've agreed. Oh, we agreed too much. We need to disagree. Well, I guess we disagree with the county names, but the county, but yeah.
It is in the not bland state of Kentucky.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, bland chicken.
The Chiefs, right?
No.
Kansas City? Oh, that's in
Kansas City.
I think that's in Kansas.
What's whatever.
Well, Kansas City technically both Missouri and Kansas.
We'll cut that out. Yeah.
We're not editing that out.
All right, I believe
Last question.
This is the last one. Well,
Wherever
I know
it is.
I've heard of this one, but maybe you guys haven't, so we'll do it anyway.
You give me
Like I feel like this one isn't whatever. Yeah.
Don't give the hint.
Mackinac.
Oh.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
That's real.
Yeah, we know that one.
It's real. Of course
now,
it is.
Now I have to.
But now you got to guess what county it's in.
I think I know
went
the
to camp.
county.
I went to camp in Mackinac.
That's right.
Like summer camp?
Yeah, that's where Rennie's daughter, John
Oh,
Randall's
fun. Okay.
But that's why it sounded familiar.
You ready?
Alright.
Just get yeah.
3, 2, 1. Luzerne.
It's in Luzerne.
Yeah, it had to be Luzerne, right? Because that's where it was.
Nice job.
Now, what are
and that's where
points
they
at?
live.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I think we are on one point ahead.
4-3 or 5-4.
Okay.
But there is still time for you to win if
the
you get this
two-
bonus question correctly, and I don't.
And you get it wrong.
So now, our bonus question
There we go.
from our very own Joe Snedeker.
Oh, God.
Drum roll.
So this is real or fake?
Yep.
Lackawanna County has the highest point of elevation in our viewing area. So that doesn't mean it's the highest elevation overall. It means the highest point in our coverage area is in Lackawanna County. Is that real or is that fake?
That's a really tough question.
I know the answer. I'm ready.
I don't know the answer.
I'm pretty sure.
So, all right.
But does he have the actual, like, if we both get it right? Okay, never mind.
If we both have it right, I mean,
Then
you guys can guess what the highest point is. I have the numbers.
Okay. All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1. It is fake.
Yes. So we both got the extra 2 points.
Well, actually, then can you tell me what county has the highest point of elevation
I
in
know.
our coverage area?
I know. I think I know.
Oh, Anthony, no. Well, that's just 1 extra point, so that would mean we tie again. All right, let's see. We're gonna think.
Now, I will say, Joe said this was too obvious. Originally, when he brought this up, he said, "No, that's too obvious. Don't do that one."
Do you have multiple bonus questions, or is it just one?
I think it's just 1, right?
Yeah. Unless you guys want to go higher or lower with the feet.
All right, I have a county in mind.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Wayne.
Sullivan.
Susquehanna.
Oh, I was between Wayne and Susquehanna. But you won.
Yes. Anthony, that was a very good game. You are a very formidable opponent.
Now, if you guys are wondering at home, Susquehanna's tallest point is Elk Hill, which is Elk Mountain,
Elk Mountain.
at 2,695 feet. Lackawanna's highest elevation is tied with Luzerne for second tallest at 2,460 feet.
Interesting.
You just got to think about where the
So
ski
we both
mountains
were
are.
wrong with Wayne and Sullivan.
No, it was honestly, I was debating between Wayne and Susquehanna because I know Elk Mountain, but yeah.
Those were great questions. Thank you so much, Johnny Stars.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Snedeker, for coming up with that bonus question.
And thanks to the viewers at home for watching When the Stars Align and Cloud to Ground.
Yes, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Cloud to Ground.
Yeah. All right, thanks, guys. Coming up next is Kurt and the kids. Stay where you are. We're going to bunch some new stuff here. See what I did there?
Stormtracker 16, Cloud to Ground, is sponsored by DraftKings Casino, your new home of Lightning Link.
Welcome back from the bunt. All right, Kurt is going to answer some of your questions that only kids can ask. Kurt, take it away, brother.
Hello and welcome back to Science Class. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kurt Aaron. You know, we got this question posed to us last week. Go, Brody.
Hi, I'm Brody. Why do we have rain?
That's a great question, Brody. And for the record, Brody is my grandson. So, exactly how does rain form? Well, you know what? Where I'm standing right now, it's part of the whole process. It's called the water cycle. You see the sun that's beating down on us right now? Well, that heats up water on the earth, and that causes the water to condense into what we call water vapor. That water vapor then rises. It's invisible, so you can't see it. But as it rises, it condenses and turns into these small little tiny water droplets. And you know what they do? They form clouds. Yes, and then they bang together and they merge with other particles. And then eventually, gravity pulls them down to Earth in the form of rain. But you know what? I don't want to just answer the question about how rain forms. I want to talk about some of the things rain can do. Like, did you know you can smell rain? I bet you didn't know that. You can. And did you know that sometimes, even though it looks like it's raining over our area, like what you're seeing here on the radar, actually not. Wait. How is that possible? We're going to explain that as well. Plus, Courtney has pictures of the water cycle that we were just talking about. This is the water cycle, and it shows the sun heating up the water. As the water heats up, it evaporates. That's that water vapor we talked about moving up into the sky. Then, condensation. That's when it starts to collect into fine particles of water, creating clouds. Those clouds then give way to Earth's natural pull, gravity, and we see the rain coming down, and they fill up rivers and oceans. This is the water cycle that keeps humans and animals on planet Earth alive. Now, how can we smell rain? The smell of rain may actually be caused by one of three things. First of all, soil-dwelling bacteria release spores. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. When it rains, those raindrops help release the earthly-smelling chemicals from the spores. Plants also secrete oils during dry periods. Rain causes compounds to release from the oils that can smell as well. And then lightning can split oxygen molecules into individual atoms. Those atoms can combine with O2 molecules to make O3 ozone, which has a distinct pre-rain odor. So what's the bottom line with all of that? The bottom line is this: yes, when it begins to rain and as it's approaching you, rain-cooled air will rush out ahead of the storm. So before the rain arrives, these are some of the things your nose is picking up to tell you rain is on the way. And then finally, we also talked about how can you look at the radar and see rain on the radar, but there's no radar on the ground where we are. Well, it's a process called virga. And what happens is when it rains, rain falls from the cloud. It reaches the ground. With virga, you look at a radar, that rain that comes down interacts with a pocket of dry air. That evaporates the rain before it reaches the ground. So even though our radar sites are picking up rain and it looks like it's raining, it's not necessarily always reaching the ground. There's your Cloud to Ground science class project for this week. Thanks for joining us. We have a podcast next week. It'll be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Kurt. I'll wrap things up right after this massive home run. Boom!
Stormtracker 16, Cloud to Ground, is sponsored by DraftKings Casino, your new home of Lightning Link.
All right, finally up, it's my turn, all right? I'm coming up with my Cloud to Ground segment called the Lightning Round, and we're answering your questions about birds. Quiet in the morning, quiet at night, what the heck? Take it away, Snedeker. Hi folks, welcome to the Lightning Round, and keep the questions coming. Remember, weather@WNEP.com. You get your questions in, we stimulate our senses, we answer your questions, we get your thoughts flowing, and I have a special guest here. Wait till you hear this guy speak. Don't speak yet. Christian, our new hotshot producer, but he looks like a young Ray Romano and sounds like a young Ray Romano, right? Don't say it yet. You be the judge, but here's a question that came in. Read it in your best Ray Romano voice.
I'll try.
Oh, I'm already getting it. Here we go.
Hey, why does it seem like I only hear birds chirping at dawn or dusk?
Who's that from?
Rock. From Bob.
Bob. All right, so Bob Hosella. Now, first of all, do you agree with that?
I do.
It's middle of the day now. Do you hear any birds chirping? No, but it's always in the morning and in the evening you hear birds. Why?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I have to think about that.
And does it have anything?
It's because they're just waking up, they're ready to go. They got energy in the morning. I don't know.
So because I'm doing this in this segment, it has to be weather related, and it is. So what happens in the morning? Birds do sleep at night, for the most part. It's a different kind of sleep, but it's sleep. So in the morning, think about the air. It's very calm and still. So the birds wake up, and they want to get their message out. And they want to talk about territory, food, maybe resources, mating. But the best way to propagate their chirps are when the air is calm and still, and that's usually in the morning. Once the sun comes up, it stirs up the atmosphere. That creates wind, and other animals kind of boom and come to life, and you hear a lot of noise, including us and society moving and grooving. So morning, it's calm, evening, it's calm, and there the bird voices can really propagate their chirps. Doesn't that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, all right, so there you go. Good question. How about this one? Do we have time for the second one? Yes.
All right, let's see.
Give it to me, Ray.
Joe said on one of the weather forecasts that July was the hottest month of the year. Then why do they call August the dog days of summer? Which I always thought August was the hottest month.
So, late July into August, the hottest month of the year. But why do they call August the dog days of summer?
I don't know.
We
That's
just
a good question.
See, these are all good questions.
I don't know.
We just did that in a wham cam, but if you want to research that, here's the quick answer. So, there's a star that's the brightest in the sky called...
The sun.
Oh, you got me there. Other than the sun. Other than the sun. Everyone thinks it's the North Star. It's not. It's Sirius. Sirius.
Okay.
And Sirius is the dog star. So ancient astronomers believe only during like late July and August that star is visible in the morning before the sun comes up. So they would see that star, the dog star, and the sun came up right after, and they would think, ooh, that star must be adding to the heat of this time of the year. So they called it the dog days of summer. The star is 8 light years away. It doesn't add to a heating issue here on Earth, but they used to associate that star with the warm temperatures in August because it was only visible in late July and August. The dog star, Sirius. The brightest star in the sky.
That makes sense. That was a good question.
All right, now give us some Ray Romano.
I don't know. What is Ray Romano?
See, you're too young to even remember the show.
I've never seen it. Everybody loves Ray.
There you go. All right, good enough. He would just complain about his wife a lot. Hey, keep the questions coming. Remember, weather@WNEP.com. We'll get your questions on, and then we answer them. Maybe with, maybe without Ray Romano, right? No one can say goodbye and keep the questions coming like you. Give it to me.
Goodbye. Keep the questions coming.
All righty, folks, thanks for joining us. Come on, it's fun, right? You learned a little something. We all had a good time. and there's more to come in future episodes. So make sure you keep joining us. Come on, cloud to ground, baby. But what I'm going to do now is smack this thing out of here and run all bases. Join us next time! Woo, baby!
Stormtracker 16, Cloud to Ground, is sponsored by DraftKings Casino, your new home of Lightning Link.